Yo guys, what is up? It's Teach here, coming at you again with another video over on Ark Survival Ascended, and I wanted to show you guys something that's kind of important to me because this is major reasons why Ark Survival Ascended is not only dying, but is actually not doing super hot right now. And these are the 6 biggest things that are wrong with the game, and all 6 of these things could be fixed, by the way. So these are great ways to bring people back into the game because only 10,000 people are currently playing Ark Survival Ascended, and that's the height at any given time. Whereas Ark Survival Evolved, the older version, the discontinued version of the game, has around 30,000 players at any given time. So there's 3 times. That's not something you want to see, obviously, if you're making a game. Your newer version should probably have more than your older version, but the big reason is some of these things will fix the problems that people have, right? So I'm going to go ahead and show, I'm just going to tell you all of them right now. So let's go and get started. So the biggest problem, you can see it right now. So optimization is Ark's biggest problem. You can see that I am moving at really high speeds. And if you look at my screen, there's all kinds of screen tear going on. Things are happening. Things are kind of just like poofing into existence. There's no smoothness. And a lot of that is due to the fact that they released this in Unreal Engine 5 without much optimization at all. So they have really poor optimization. Now, in order to fix that, it's kind of, to me, it's a little bit ridiculous that I am running on a 3090 Ti, which is still like a $1,200 graphics card. It's not the best out there, but it's still a very good graphics card. And you need to put in commands in order to actually make it run successfully. Now, I'll show you what I mean by that, right? So that's what it was running like without these commands. And then if you actually use the commands, it turns into a totally different game. Everything runs smoothly. I can move at Mach 10 and there's no major problems. And everything seems to like run so much better. My FPS is sitting at 120 instead of 30. So that's a major difference. Look at the water runs perfectly. Everything runs so much better if I put in some commands into the game. Now, if you're looking for those commands, check out my video on that. I think I made it like 2 weeks ago. But anyways, yeah, so to me, optimization is a major problem. Now, they are saying they're releasing an 80% optimization increase when Aberration comes out if you use the AMD framework of their whatever it is. I don't remember the technical term for it, but use the AMD thing and turn it on because it's going to increase your game by 80% for your performance, which is huge. That's a huge increase. And then also 5.4, Unreal 5.4 instead of what they're on now, which is 5.2 or 3, I think. That will be pushed out somewhere between October and November. Now, those can't happen soon enough because a lot of people that want to play this game just can't run it. They log in and they're just like, dude, my graphics card is going to explode. I've got a 2080 Super or something like that. So that's definitely a problem because you shouldn't have to have a $2,000 graphics card to run this game successfully. Because obviously, at least run it without commands like I have to put in, because so many people play on unofficial and just solo or with their friends on this game. Not really anyone plays official servers, but unofficial and stuff like that, super popular. By the way, if you want to play on an official, Elite Ark is a game that the cluster that I'm playing on. You just type it into the Google and you can find it, but it's a great PvP server. Much better than official, but that's my personal opinion. So that's optimization. Now, the next thing is a super easy fix, and that's got to do with cryopods. Cryopods are a major problem right now. And the reason that they're a major problem is because you'll see these things spread all over the map. Cryo fridges are literally just tossed everywhere. The reason they're tossed everywhere is because in order to throw out a cryopod, you have to have a cryo fridge that is turned on with a generator. Now, you can also only throw it out for about 13 foundations. So about, I don't know, we'll call it like maybe this far is about how far you can throw out a cryopod, which is a problem, right? Because now the entire map is littered. And if you've been on official, you can see that everything is just covered in cryo fridges and covered in generators. So you have to blow it up if you're on PvP, or if you're on PvE, good luck. So, yeah. If you're playing on unofficial servers, you're probably using a mod to just prevent this entirely. But yeah, so that's a big problem. Not only that, but they made it so you can't build these or throw out your tames near anything else, near a base, near a dino, near a player, near a dead thing, near anything, right? So it basically enables bases that are inside of really cheeky positions and in rat holes and stuff like that. It makes them unraidable because you can't throw out a stego, you can't throw out a trike, you can't throw out anything you need in order to actually raid it. So if you want to raid my old rat hole for existence, just for an example, like if I put some foundations that are on the inside of this, you're not raiding this. Like there's no way you're getting up in there. Yeah, so that's a big problem. Not only that, but yeah, cryopods in general just need a big change, because you used to be able to throw things out and you have to like pocket tames for PvP and for PvE. Hey, I need to be able to just throw this out real quick, and it probably saved lag on the server because you didn't have an additional 1,000 cryo fridges on the actual server. Or generators that needed to be rendered and stuff like that. So it would save with lag and would save in general, because a lot of people just hate the cryopod changes. I actually have heard 0 people that like the changes they made to the cryopods, which is obviously something that concerns people. And the reason that I'm saying that is because I understand why maybe you can't throw them within like 5 or 10 foundations of somebody or their base. That makes sense. That's a good one. You shouldn't be able to just throw out a massive creature on top of somebody's back and say goodbye. But you should be able to throw it out when you want to throw it out, instead of having to be like, okay, I got to put if I want to get some metal right here, I got to put down a cryo fridge, I got to put down this, and then throw my Anki out afterwards. And if I want to pick it up, I got to go pick it up or demolish it and then go from there. So that's a huge problem. Cryopods are a major issue that people are experiencing, and just change it or revert it, modify it a little bit, and you get a ton of people back on PvP at least. Now, the next thing, I'm going to have to log out of this game and show you the menus and the problems with it, right? And it's pretty simple. The lack of content is pretty extreme inside of Ark. There's only 3 maps. So if I go in here, I've got the island, I've got Scorched Earth, and I've got the center. These 3 maps, if everyone was to rank their favorite maps on Ark Survival Evolved, none of these 3 would be in anyone's top 5. Now, some people will have it in there for nostalgia. The island is a fun map because it's what we spent most of our time on. Scorched Earth was fun because it had some crazy challenges, and the center has the best PvP bases in the entire game with the number of rat holes that it has. But outside of that, there's nothing like unique about it. Like Aberration, fantastic map, but also not everyone's favorite. Add in some maps that people want to come back and play for, like your Ragnaroks, like your Fjordors, like your Extinctions, Genesis 2. People loved those maps because it was something different, or like Ragnarok, it's like everyone's favorite PvP map, or just in general. It's such a well done map that people just have such a nostalgia for Ragnarok that alone, just adding a map like that, just not even fully publishing it like with all the finishing touches, just publishing that will bring such a massive number of people back that the lack of content is causing major problems. So that's something that people need to realize, because these are easy fixes, right? Like, yes, they can also fix it as they go. So just be like, hey, we're totally not optimized on this map yet, because Ragnarok, I don't know if anyone played it when it released. It was not optimized. It was miserable. You'd lag all over the place. You ran into things. There were areas where you just teleported into non-existence. It was crazy. Now, those are things that you need to consider, because yeah, it's just, I don't know. Add some maps that people like. I love Aberration, so I'm stoked for Aberration because it's my favorite map, but it's also not everyone's favorite because there's no flyers. It's very specific. It's a very grindy and difficult map to play. So yeah, got to be careful about that. But anyways, let's move on to the next one. Now, the next thing that's a major problem on official servers especially is cheating, duping, and rule breaking. And to be completely fair, there's no real clear rules. If you go to the Survive the Ark website and look at their code of conduct, all of their rules are very, very vague, and there's no real consequences. It says there will be consequences, right? There's no like, this is what happens for your first offense, second offense, this is what happens when you do this. It just says there will be consequences. So let's say you do something like accidentally go into the mesh. I've heard countless stories of someone gets stuck, like they'll get on a boat or something like that, right? And they'll just like poof under the map and they'll get stuck there. And then the anti-cheat service will tell them that they're meshing, and then people will get banned for that. Now, whether or not that's completely true, I don't know, but those are the types of stories where I'm like, dude, that's not cool. Like, you shouldn't just ban people for that. Or I'll give you my example, right? Do I think it's completely fair that I got admin wiped and banned because I built inside of a rat hole that was inside of the game and not removed? This right here, by the way. No, I don't think that's fair in any way, shape, or form that I was banned for building inside of this. Now, do I understand that there's an admin wipe? Yeah, is it technically against the rules? Yeah, I guess, right? Because if you go inside of this thing, you go up here, there's a small access to the mesh up here that, oh man, I can go to the top of this floating island. Cool, but that's it. Yeah, so I could build in here, right? And then if they fill it in, they fill it in, and then just say, hey, Teach, you've been admin wiped and not banned. That's fair. Okay, cool. I knew what I did getting into this hole. I technically knew there was a mesh point. So it makes sense. I'm fine with that. It is what it is. So that's that. But I think they need to actually lay out consequences. And this is what happens when you do this. This is your first time warning, so on and so forth. Or when I responded to the appeal, I was like, hey, you know, I'd like at least the 3 people that were tribed up with me to be banned because I was the one that chose that rat hole. My response was very generic, and it was literally, we make our decisions based on extensive research. It's like, you didn't do extensive research. Someone tried to raid me, and 12 hours later I was banned. Someone pocket admined me. And that's what I mean by there's a lot of cheating problems. Now, admins, I don't expect perfection from anybody, right? But the fact is, if you have a friend that's an admin, and this happens in a lot of cases, tons of stories on videos, you just send them a message, and then 12 to 24 hours later, they log in, they look at the cheating or the issue that you're having, and then all of a sudden that thing is wiped or banned. And that's crazy because most people, when they report a ticket or report an issue, might not get a response for like 48, 72, or ever. And it just sits there in their queue, or they just say, hey, ticket closed, blah, 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 blah. I've heard a lot of stories of that. So pocket admins is a big problem. Not only that, but I've also heard stories, I've never experienced this, so keep this in mind, about people that are essentially going to these Facebook groups or these Discord servers, and you can, for real money, real life money, go purchase tames, go purchase base spots, go purchase resources. And I've even heard people go so far as to say there are specific GMs, like naming the GMs and when they did it and sending screenshots and stuff like that, that will fill up dedicated storage and stuff like that. And I hope that's not real. But again, these are accusations that people are making. And some people, I mean, I've already had YouTubers send me, hey, you can't just say something like that. It's like, yes, I can. If people in the, if people are experiencing this and at all in general, right? I think it's important to say either one, wildcard says, yeah, there's nothing, or 2, maybe it is a problem. And someone, like, there's got to be some sort of rules, like admin tracking when they log into the server. Because when someone logs into the server, there's not like a tracking of the commands they're running, right? Put admin command tracking in the game. Problem solved. All of a sudden, you know what they're spawning in, what they're doing, stuff like that. And then that's it. Easy peasy. Like, there's fixes for these kinds of things. So I hope that's not the case. But yeah, obviously duping is a problem. And then obviously rule breaking and people kind of testing, but as it is. And that kind of leads me into the next thing, the next major problem that's occurring with Ark right now. And that's the meta. The meta is one of the most frustrating things to me because everyone has to use it. If you're playing PvP or even PvE for that matter, there are very specific dinos that you have to use. And there's only like maybe 10% of the dinos or creatures in the game that you use in order to actually play the game. For meat and for like attack dinos, you pretty much exclusively use Giganotosaurus or Carcharodontosaurus. That's it. Rexes are used for bosses, so are Therazinos. So there's your 1, 2, 3, 4. Therazinos are also used for wood. Your flyers, you pretty much only need an Argentavis. Pteranodons after early game are only useful to raid with. Quetzal's barely useful anymore except for carrying things. And you get my point. There's a lot of creatures like Carbonemus are useful for raiding, but that's it. Like, I think there should be very specific purposes and creatures that have additional functions, because it just turns into this meta of this is what you do in this situation, this is what you do. Like, I want like 12 different opportunities. Like in a game like Rainbow Six Siege, right? You got a bunch of different weapons, a bunch of different operators that have a bunch of different purposes. Why not turn Ark into a game like that, where each dino has some sort of special ability or special feature? And I'm not talking overpowered things. I'm talking things like Titanoboa, right? No one tames a Titanoboa because they don't have any value to them. But with a Titanoboa, it would be very simple and very easy to just go into the actual code of the game and say, okay, Titanoboas passively produce narcotic or something like that because they knock you out, right? So that makes sense to me. Cool, right? Might as well. That'd be a really cool thing to add to them so people can tame them to provide narcotic. Or maybe what else is something that no one uses at all? I'm just going to fly around and just find a dino, right? That has a very distinct lack of purpose. Manta, right? Here's one that has no purpose of taming. You get all kinds of saddles for them, maybe because they've got, I don't know, some sort of ability. They produce fish meat over time or something like that, because fish meat is a pain in the butt to get. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's little things that could make creatures inside this game super useful. Or like these guys stealing things, right? Maybe they somehow ignore like players, I don't know, turrets can't shoot them or something like that, so they can be used for, I don't know, raiding. I'm just giving examples of there's a lot of really unique things you can do to shift up the meta. So there's a lot of different useful creatures instead of just, hey, this is what you use for this situation, this is what you use for that situation. And that's just how we work the game. Now, that's that. And that includes like weaponry and stuff like that, right? That's kind of crazy. floating fish, but oh well. So when I mean like weaponry, like everything has specific purposes. Like tech grenades are used to blow up turrets. C4 is used to blow up bases. Like why not add some, you have things in the game that are already really useful, like IED, right? And improvised explosive devices. There's not really a value to them because you can see them really easily. Why not make them do a ton of damage and like be able to like lay invisible tripwires, like, or laser tripwires, or like the narcotic trap, right? Like there should be fun ways to do, like integrate and rework some of the things in the game to kind of modify and add some value to things in the game that you wouldn't expect to be used. Like if I go into the engrams of this game, oh crap, forgot to make a tribe. If I go into the engrams of this game, let's go to like level 20. There's things a lot like aren't very useful. Like painting canvas is very PvE, which is fine. Like I think it's okay. Like the tripwire alarm trap, maybe make it so like it blinds you or something like that. You know what I mean? Or something like you're not going to build this except for that reason. Fur is very useless in most areas because people get enough fortitude or get enough hide or get enough riot or like change. Like maybe having a full fur set means that it's impossible to take heat or cool damage or something like that. You know, just add that, or you reduce the amount of food you eat by half. Like add unique things like that into the game, make it very complex, like not just a few simple things that people tame. Like when I'm playing PvP, I literally only tame like 10 different tames and that's it. That's all I go. And then I don't need the rest of it. So that's just something to think about. So, and that leads me to my last point, and that is bugs. Obviously, bugs are something that is game breaking and it's very difficult to fix over time, but there used to be quite a few. To be fair, ASA is pretty reasonable, but some people are still having major issue bugs. And I'm talking like people are still having save problems on Xbox and PlayStation, or logging in and they just get immediately disconnected. Or for example, there's no favorites system inside of Ark. So if I go log out, right, exit to main menu, and I want to say, hey, join favorite server, I can go over here, or let's say, nope, let's go back. I can go join game, unofficial, right? There used to be a favorites button, favorite server, so I could like sort via favorites, but I can't do that anymore. Now I've got to literally search. You click refresh, but it doesn't do anything. And then, yeah, so that's just something to think about, because like simple things like that would make a big difference. So anyways, I know this is a lot, but I hope that this is something that you guys either agree with or, you know, just let me know what you think in the comments, because it is something that I think about sometimes. I love this game. I still want to play this game. I'm going to play this game until it dies. I really am. I love it. It's just a game that is very special to me. I love dinosaurs. I love open world survival games, and they blended them together so well. There are things that they do so well, and there's small things that could be changed to make this game so much better. And I really do hope some of them actually get worked on. But anyways, hopefully this brings some, you know, a little bit of positive light. These are negatives, but these are all fixable things, right? I brought up the problems that are killing Ark, and I also brought up things that you could do right away to fix it. So I'm excited for the future. And over the next year or so, we're going to get a ton of releases for Ark Survival Ascended, and maybe Ark 2 at the end of next year would be my guess. But hopefully this is something you're excited for. And if you don't mind, helps out a ton. Smash that like button, leave a comment below for the algorithm, and then consider subscribing to the channel. And then now I can see through the mesh. You know, that's still something that's crazy to me. Oh well. But anyways, hopefully this video helps you out. Teach